this way. Check, check, check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey everybody, First Alert Meteorologist Bob Trihy here. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. We're on Facebook, we're on our weather app, and we're on our website as well, coasttv.com, as we continue to track the storm. You can see the big swirl here, low pressure just off of our coast, looking pretty impressive right now, but it's just stalled out right now just off of our coast, and it looks like the worst is over. As far as what we're seeing as far as the real heavy rain and the gusty winds. So we're definitely happy to see that, but we're still looking at lots of clouds. We're looking at lots of drizzle and mist and some of that rain as well. And we will continue to zoom in. We're going to zoom in right now across Delmarva, and you can see right now lots of clouds, and also continue to see showers around Dover, back through Ocean View and Easton as well. But this is pretty much just a heavy mist. And that will continue as we go into the afternoon hours, as we're looking at lots of clouds. Here's a live look at our camera, the Tunnel and Racer camera right now from Lewis 59, and you can see all the white caps out there. It is just really unsettled at the present time, and it's just going to be continuing to be rough out there. Here's our Boardwalk Plaza cam, and you can see the surf is still pretty high. We're still looking at waves around 5 to 10 feet. In Laurel right now, it's 58 degrees, but along the coast, it's a little warmer. So we'll be looking at temperatures in the 60s at the coast. But more importantly, we continue to see Coastal flood warnings now continuing across the Delaware coast from Lewis down to Fenwick Island. And what I'm concerned about is the western shore of from Indian Beach down to Ocean View, because we've got a northwest wind now blowing. And that means that water is going to shift and start to pile up a little bit. So once again, you folks that are used to flooding in these situations, we definitely could be looking at inundation of about 1 to 2 feet as we go into the afternoon hours. Once again, this coastal flood warning continues till 8 p.m. and then also a coastal flood warning for Worcester County as well. Now we continue with a gale warning for Delaware Bay back along the Atlantic Ocean as well. That continues until Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. The winds have shifted to the northwest, not as strong as yesterday, but we continue with the stronger winds that are now going to start to blow offshore as low pressure is moving away. And a little farther south, looks like they have downgraded the gale warning to a small craft advisory, roughly from the Delaware-Maryland state line and points south as well. Now, we're concerned at the next time of high tide because we've got the water that's piling up, and our next high tide comes to Bowers Beach at 3:18. It's a moderate risk of flooding there. Also in Lewis, a moderate chance of flooding, where the next high tide is at 2:38. Indian River Inlet shortly before 3 p.m. for your next high tide. And then Ocean City, we're looking at a high tide of 2:24 and expecting minor flooding at that time. And then once we get past this high tide, I think things will finally start to improve. But we're looking at peak wind gusts from the last 24 to 36 hours, and pretty impressive. Indian River Inlet had a peak gust to 57 miles per hour, with South Bethany at 55. Lewis, you had a peak gust to 52 miles per hour, with Dewey Beach at 48. Georgetown had a gust yesterday of 46 miles per hour, and Fenwick Island 42. So those strong winds out of the northeast, all that water was piling up, and that's why we had some of that flooding. And some rainfall amounts are pretty impressive, close to 2 inches in the Harbison area in the last 24 hours, over 1.5 inches in Stockley, with Dagsboro about 1.25 inches of rain, with Ellendale a little bit over 1 inch, 1.12. Georgetown, you picked up 1.06, and Lewis about 92 hundredths of an inch of rain. So here's the current wave heights. Now, as I mentioned, we're seeing that wind shifting to the northwest now, so the wind's starting to blow offshore, and we still have 8-foot wave heights down south, down near Chincoteague right now. In the bays, waves around 2 to 4 feet, and 15-foot waves still off the central Jersey coast. But I think these waves will start to decrease as we go into the afternoon hours. But the coastal flood threat is still there, and we are definitely concerned about that. Now, this afternoon, we have a moderate to major coastal flooding problem. Once again, it's those west-facing shores in the bays, because the wind is coming in out of the northwest, where the ocean waves will still be around 6 to 12 feet, and we're looking at maybe up to 1 to 2 foot of inundation still at the next high tide cycle, which comes in around 2 to 3 p.m. And you've heard the saying, turn around, don't drown. Very important in these situations. So do not drive down flooded roads for several reasons. You know, there could be power lines down in some of those flooded areas with live wires. So you really have to be careful in these kind of situations. But this coastal flood threat, once again, is moderate to major as we go into the middle part of the afternoon. Then we're looking at slowly improving conditions as we go into this evening. As we're taking a look at Futurecast, here's 2 p.m. You can see those winds are northwesterly now offshore as low pressure is moving away, with temperatures in the 50s and 60s, and it's just going to be kind of a nuisance rain. We're going to be looking at drizzle and light rain into the mid-afternoon, then maybe another push of some heavier showers around dinner time this afternoon, with a northwesterly breeze. Once again, those winds gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour, so still pretty strong. And then as we go into the evening, you can see how the arrows are coming in out of the north with low pressure offshore. We do have that northwesterly flow. Some showers still hanging around parts of Sussex County, around Millsboro, back to Selbyville, Lewis, Dewey Beach back through Fenwick Island, you're still in that mist and just kind of miserable conditions as we go into this evening. And then through the overnight into early Tuesday morning, we're looking at temperatures in the 50s and 60s and still looking at cloudy skies. It's going to be that breeze out of the north, a little stronger at the coast, and still that chance of seeing some showers as we go through the overnight hours. By Tuesday morning, you can see those red and purplish arrows along the coast where your northerly winds will still be quite strong, maybe gusting in excess of 40 miles per hour, while inland areas not as windy but still breezy and kind of raw. We'll be looking at cloudy skies and temperatures into the upper 50s. And by Tuesday afternoon, it's possible we could see some peaks of sunshine. How about that? Wouldn't that be great? But don't count on it. I think we're still looking at lots of clouds and temperatures only in the low 60s in the afternoon. So still kind of cloudy and still kind of raw at that time. And even into the evening hours, we might see some breaks in the overcast, but still we're thinking mainly cloudy skies, breezy along the coast, and still a little breezy inland. But that area of low pressure will be continuing to move offshore, and we'll be looking at conditions continuing to improve. Now, here's a day part forecast for this afternoon. We're looking at the clouds and that northwesterly wind that will be sustained around 10 to 15 miles per hour, but it'll be gusting over 30 miles per hour, maybe even over 40 at the beaches. So don't let your guard down, but conditions definitely improving as we go into the afternoon. By mid-afternoon, we're looking at clouds and temperatures into the upper 50s and still a chance of some drizzle and some light rain as we go into the 4 o'clock hour. In fact, that continues later this evening. I think we're still looking at kind of a windswept drizzle, heavy mist as we go into the evening hours. Just not very pleasant with temperatures into the upper 50s and then slowly starting to calm down, I think, as we go through the overnight hours. Once again, I want to go back to the coastal flood threat. If you're just joining us on the live stream this afternoon, once again, it's a moderate to major coastal flood problem as we get closer to the time of high tide, which is around 2 to 3 p.m. in many locations. And once again, I'm expecting waves around 6 to 12 feet, and on the bays, 1 to 2 foot waves, and we could see up to 1 to 2 feet of inundation as we go into this afternoon, coinciding with that high tide. And remember, don't drive down flooded roads. That's very, very important. And once again, here's another look at Futurecast. We have the breezy, the misty conditions, and the cool conditions into the afternoon hours. And then by this evening, still that threat of some heavier rain. But I think, once again, the worst of this is over. It'll be a slow improvement in the weather as we go into this evening, but we still keep it pretty wet as we go into the evening hours with a northwest breeze and temperatures into the low 60s. And then by Tuesday morning, we're looking at breezy conditions at the coast, still some mist and still some drizzle, but once again, the worst of it is over, but still pretty breezy at the coast with a persistent northwest wind, and then conditions will start to improve, I think, as we go into the evening hours. Once again, maybe even a few peaks of sunshine are possible into Tuesday afternoon. And then as we go into the evening hours, we're looking at still lots of clouds and temperatures in the 60s, but you note how the color of the arrows not as defined in the red and purple colors. So we're definitely looking at the conditions improving, but really be careful out there this afternoon at the time of high tide between about 2 and 3 p.m. and still some gusty winds. That's when we can see more of those coastal impacts with inundation around 1 to 2 feet. Remember to join us later on for our newscast this evening beginning at 5. We'll have much more. Paul Williams will have much more on the situation coming up on the news at 5, 6, and 11. And make sure to download the Coast TV weather app. If you don't have it, we have a lot of bells and whistles on there to keep track of the storm and the conditions we're looking at right now. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your afternoon and stay safe. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Bob Trihy. Okay, I didn't get a signal from you or anything about 10 minutes, but are we?
I was getting ready to, but it's not.
Oh, okay. I